It's on first and there's more of it. The extended lunchtime news is every weekday at 12:30, only on ITV Day.
The illegal immigrant who killed a policeman, now the asylum failures prompt an extraordinary government apology.
What we apologise for is the death of that police officer, serving his country, trying to protect his country.
Asylum again dominates the election campaign as the Ricin terror case places ministers on the back foot. Also tonight, Kennedy confused, the Lib Dem leader trips up at his manifesto launch. Shamed again, but the disgraced baby doctor escapes being struck off. And going through, was this enough to keep Newcastle in Europe?
And in the Anglia region tonight, the amazing 8-year-old who stepped in to help when her mum unexpectedly gave birth at their home in Essex.
Good evening. Labour campaign supremo Alan Milburn tried to take the heat out of an asylum row with an extraordinary apology. Mr Milburn said sorry for the death of DC Stephen Oak. He was the policeman stabbed to death by the illegal Algerian asylum seeker who should never have been in the country. The Conservatives said that the fact that he was proved Labour wasn't dealing with the terrorist threat. Mr Milburn made his apology in an interview with our political correspondent Angus Walker. He joins us now. Angus.
Yes, it is rare to get any form of apology from a cabinet minister. It wasn't easily extracted. And the Tories have seized on that word sorry from Alan Milburn as vindication of their attacks on Labour's asylum policy, a system they say it's so lax it threatens national security. Whatever the rights and wrongs of citing the case of Kamel Bourgass, it does prove that the politicians believe Britain's borders will be a major issue for many voters at the ballot box. Asylum and terrorism have become welded together in the heated election campaign. The Conservatives say Kamel Bourgass is now the evil face of Labour's failed asylum policy, a failed asylum seeker who disappeared to plot and to kill. Today, a government minister made an unprecedented apology for the asylum system failures that led to the death of DC Oak, the detective murdered arresting Bourgass in 2003.
What we apologise for is the death of that police officer, serving his country, trying to protect his country. Of course, the issue now is how we ensure that that sort of thing doesn't happen again. The police and the security services have made perfectly clear that we need ID cards as a means of fighting terrorism.
Alan Milburn issued a challenge to Tory leader Michael Howard. If Labour is re-elected, will he back their plans for ID cards?
It is ludicrous to suggest that the answer to these problems is ID cards. There are many things which we could and should be doing now. He was right to apologise. Of course, that involves acceptance of the responsibility of the government for what happened.
In January 2000, Kamel Bourgass first entered Britain in the back of a lorry. Using a false name, he made a formal application for asylum a month later. But it was 18 months before he was interviewed by immigration officers. His application was refused. He appealed, but that was dismissed in October 2001. Bourgass could now be arrested and deported. But he stayed in the country, and even when he was picked up for shoplifting in 2002, he avoided detection by giving a different name. He disappeared into society until the raid on his flat a year later. Can you guarantee that ID cards would prevent another Kamel Bourgass?
Well, of course you can't guarantee that, but what you can say, as the police and the security services have been saying, is that ID cards are a key means of helping to fight terrorism and preventing these sort of things happening.
What we think is that the issue of asylum has got to be taken out of the political arena. Now, what you need is an independent agency to whom asylum seekers would have to apply.
Kamel Bourgass has highlighted serious weaknesses that can only undermine public confidence in the government's ability to protect Britain's borders. Well, I'm sure the Conservatives feel they've bruised Labour by linking asylum and national security, but Look at this advert from a local Conservative candidate in a local newspaper. Stop asylum abuse, it says. Bob leads the fight in Parliament to stop asylum cheats. It's saying if we don't act, nasty fringe parties will. But look at these words, send them back. 3 words that wouldn't look out of place on a BNP leaflet. And there are warnings from race relations groups to all politicians to mind their language when they enter the asylum debate.
Angus, thank you. Delayed by the birth of his son, today was another big day for Charles Kennedy, the launch of the Lib Dems manifesto. Higher state pensions, more teachers, and the complicated matter of replacing the council tax with local income tax. It certainly took some explaining, which, after broken nights, proved pretty tricky for Mr. Kennedy. This from our political editor, Nick Robinson.
The real alternative has had an unreal few days, and today it showed. New dads know that morning after the night before feeling, but this new dad had a manifesto to launch.
I just wondered how much sleep Charlie had last night.
Could have done with more.
More sleep might have helped him answer a vital question about one of the Lib Dems' crucial policies. Who'll pay more if they scrap the council tax and replace it with a local income tax?
You're talking in the region of 20... Yeah, I mean, if you take a double income couple, 20,000 each, that's what you're talking about. 40,000 pounds. 40,000 pounds, sorry. Yes, 40,000 pounds.
Concerned colleagues looked on as Mr. Kennedy insisted his new tax would raise the same as council tax. In fact, the party's spending £2 billion to keep bills low, so that 15 million families will be better off, the typical family by £450 a year. The Lib Dem leader insists this is a vote winner, not least with the 6 million pensioners who'll pay nothing at all.
When people locally have looked at the argument, have looked at the details, have looked at what it means for them, they've said yes.
Scrapping council tax is just one of the Lib Dem manifesto ideas. They pledge to scrap student fees as well, to reduce class sizes, to offer free personal care for the elderly, all paid for, they say, by a 50% rate of income tax on those earning over 100,000.
The Liberal Democrats, the real alternative, as a party, we have been the real opposition over the big issues of the day. Iraq, student top-up fees, the council tax, and the Conservatives over that period have themselves flip-flopped on so many of those matters.
I really do hope people study the Liberal Democrat manifesto very carefully indeed. I long for them to read it all and understand what the Liberal Democrats' policies really are.
Amazing shambles this morning. Their tax plans and economic plans are so incoherent that even the Liberal leadership don't understand them.
Congratulated wherever he went, Charles Kennedy did admit that maybe he'd return to work a little early.
Yeah, I'm pleased to be back in the job. I must admit it's sort of 6:30 this morning. Slight mixed feelings about it.
Nick Robinson, ITV News, Westminster.
Well, the Lib Dems' policy on tax appeared to be pretty upfront, or was it? With a panel of experts and insiders, we're trying during the campaign to distinguish the spin from the substance of the election issues as they arise. Tonight, Tom Bradby looks at those Lib Dem tax plans unspun.
James, the Liberal Democrats said today they were openly and honestly announcing a tax rise. Well, with the help of our unspun panel here, we've concluded that for some voters it is in fact 2. Their manifesto says they'll introduce a top rate of 50% for people earning over £100,000. The Institute for Fiscal Studies says this year that would affect 419,000 people, 1.4% of income tax payers. It would cost them, on average, £219 a week and would raise £4.7 billion in the coming tax year, which will go